today's video, we're going to be going over the brand Basketcase Gallery. Going to be doing a brief introduction about them, the clothing brand, and briefly talking about really everything that I think makes them successful, all the way from their marketing and content strategy down to just the product itself, my general thoughts about them, and yeah, just going to kind of do an overview of exactly why I think they are so successful. They've amassed just a massive following. I think over 250,000 followers on Instagram. Have massive drops, clearly doing very well. A pretty decent sized team for a brand that's more or less an IG type brand. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. Okay, cool. Basketcase Gallery. So this brand is founded by a guy named Zach Kinninger. You can find him at odd_Zach on Instagram. And yeah, really not much to it. I believe it was started in roughly around 2017. I did not double check that fact. So around that time period was the brand when it was founded. Based out of California, and more specifically, I believe LA. Could be wrong, but yeah, more or less California. And so yeah, the first thing I want to note about them is kind of go straight into their content strategy. Now again, Basketcase Gallery, they have exactly a 250,000 followers. Primarily live on Instagram. They do have a TikTok account. They do have a YouTube account. So we can briefly go over those two real quick. For YouTube, of course, they do some long form, kind of just highlighting some of the different collections they've done and different things like their pop-ups that they're known for. Yeah, they have roughly 4 years worth of these long forms. So they have, again, it's a brief YouTube that they use from time to time, and a TikTok strategy that sometimes uses some of those kind of like shorter content that they also post on IG. That's also like really high production and shot. That's more like horizontal. So they post some of those to their TikTok, as well as just a variety of other stuff that they do, whether it be their community fit pics like this, just highlighting, again, their pop-ups that they have going on. So they don't post a ton on TikTok, but they definitely have their own thing going on. They have the Mohawk guy for this one, highlighting their one of their zines that they did. And sometimes they'll just post carousels of product that's dropping. So yeah, again, a little bit of everything, nothing too crazy to gleam over in terms of their TikTok strategy, but yeah, that is that. So the majority of what we're going to be looking at is their Instagram. Now, again, as I previously alluded to, they do a ton of these short films like this one. So again, a lot of short films. I think that one is more like a recap. They do other ones that are more like pre the actual drop itself. I know they did. Where was that at? Sure, if you go into the reels, you can look at a lot of their videos. They generally do one for just about each collection. Here's actually the one for the New Balance collab. So again, that's kind of like the vibe for a lot of their videos are like different. They each have their own theme. Yeah, the kids all out in basket case from head to toe, and I was actually highlighting their New Balance collab that I just had recently, which is really cool to see, just to showcase how far the brand has come. But again, yeah, that's one of the main things for their just content strategy in general is just really high production, semi like minute long, 45 seconds, short films. Again, high production. They do them for almost every collection that they do or major release. So along with that, we kind of have a very like mixed but semi consistent content strategy on Instagram. So again, they produce most of their stuff in collections and not really like small product drops. So that's just one big thing that they do really well is just the consistency of their collections. So with each one, we generally get a lookbook featuring different people in each one. Each time they have a different model for each collection that they do, and they'll shoot it in a different place. So each one kind of has their own theme. They'll do product just layout shots. So the shots on people, the shots on just the ground like this. They do tons of posts like this where just the product on the ground. Obviously, this kind of style is like really popular in streetwear in general right now, especially on Instagram. You're gonna see tons of brands that post their clothes just like this as flats, again on the concrete. And then they'll always post something like this where they have the full collection just on a white background, some comments with it, things like that. And yeah, more or less that's their general product launch, if you will. So again, we have that kind of that video that's a little higher end production. We'll generally get like one or two different carousels of either a specific product from the collection or products, or just a swipe a ton of just products on again that flat kind of layout on the concrete. We generally have some shots with a specific model at a new location each time. And yeah, generally something about the whole collection in general on white background. So tons of content for each collection itself. Generally like between 6 to 10 posts, if I were to say. Another thing that they do is they do a ton of meme posts, which is just something that's really simple, but I think effective for their brand. If you look at their Instagram in general, everything has very high engagement, which is just a testimony to just how they built the community, which feels very organic. Again, they do stuff like this, where it's these meme dumps that feel very on brand to Basketcase Gallery. Again, gets very high engagement. They do a little bit of some other things. Most collections will also feature a this is for a pop-up, but most collections will feature some sort of graphic. So all these graphics again have a bit of like a grungy punk feel, which is kind of in general how I would describe the brand. A little bit hard to again really describe it, but again has a bit of that grungy punk feel. But still feels very like unique and different in their own way. So again, for this collection we have mnemonics, and this is the graphic for it. Then we have some just product shots on again like a white background showcasing what's coming up. We have the model with again like a new setting and added he may or may not has been featured before, but again, fairly new. More product details, and then we have like the actual product release, more or less. So again, more memes, and that's kind of how they keep it going. So that's more or less their content strategy. There's obviously more to it and more things sprinkled in with that, but yeah, their content strategy honestly works very well. They're very consistent with their posts, very active on their stories, constantly asking for community feedback. Doing polls, things of that nature, and just highlighting everything that's going on with the brand. So moving on. One other thing they do, I don't know if I found one, but they do this thing called the Fit Pick Olympics. Just again, it's smart for any brand. For any brand to have like their 1, 2, or 3 things that like they do that pretty much like no other brand like really does, or even if like you rebrand it. Of course, other brands will post like their community in their community wearing their clothes and do like carousels of that. It's good for just a lot of reasons. But yeah, they do their own thing called like the Fit Pick Olympics, which is essentially just that a carousel of the community wearing the clothes. Like we might have one right. Nope. But just one small detail that they add in with their content strategy. Yeah, right here. So again, just stuff like this helps the brand. Um, yeah, high engagement and just showcases like the community part of the brand. Moving on from the content strategy, I want to talk about the product itself. So if you go to their website, let's try and go to Basketcase Gallery. So you go to their website. It's actually almost always closed. They only drop on the weekends, and it's generally once a month at best. So most of the product I'll have to show you is from their Instagram itself. But yeah, if we're looking at the product, it's pretty varied. I say that the products that they hit the hardest and honestly the best and most consistent are your graphic tees, your hoodies, your knits, and the denim, sprinkling with a lot of other things. They kind of have something for everyone, I would say. So again, a lot of graphic heavy stuff, a lot of like grungy punk kind of vibe. They also do a lot of like bootleg type stuff. They'll do from time to time. Those are some of my favorite stuff. For me personally, I only own this T-shirt. Probably my favorite T-shirt. It's like a rip of a Grateful Dead rip of a Disney tee, so that's pretty hard. And they also did a Pikachu one, and then I almost bought the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon one. That one went crazy, but yeah. One thing to note is that their prices are pretty high compared to most like other brands, if you will. Like hoodies are going to be like 160, your tees are 60, most outerwear is going to be 100 plus. And I'll say that in my personal opinion, I think the product I would consider to be like very good. I wouldn't say it's like elite. I wouldn't say it's like average, and I wouldn't say it's definitely not like bad. Um, I think their quality is definitely good. They produce everything in LA, I believe, or at least Cali, designed and manufactured in Cali. So obviously with those higher labor costs, as opposed to another brand, operating with Chinese manufacturers or wherever it is. They do kind of have to charge a higher price point for that. But yeah, from the business side, that obviously helps their margins, even though they definitely have a higher cost per unit just because they're manufacturing in LA. But yeah, the product is very good. I like it. It's definitely something for everyone. Also, with a lot of their product collections, they generally sprinkle in some old stuff. Either it's like a graphic or an exact product in a different colorway that they know has already like sold out or done pretty well. So they're pretty smart on tracking like what's selling, what isn't. So for each collection that they do, again, they'll generally include something from the past that's already sold pretty well and just do it in a new colorway or something of that nature, or it's a repeating motif or graphic that they're now putting on a hoodie instead of a t-shirt. And then most of the other collection is just completely new. And each collection doesn't really have a central theme. It's kind of random. One thing to note is that all of their collections are very unorthodoxly named. And the products themselves, like if you look right here, the first T-shirt's called Practice, T. Then we have Robin cargos. Then we have Ballet Zip, Euphemism T. Like the list goes on and on and on. Everything is very uniquely named. The products themselves, like this ballet knit right here, I've seen that one several times. So yeah, they continue to kind of restock what's working or working really well, and adding on to again some new kind of product ideas. Like they have some definitely different stuff like this denim right here with the, I don't even know how this works, if that's like the inside of the pockets with the dress shirt sleeves. But yeah, they do a ton of cool stuff. This Letterman's probably one of my favorite releases they have done. Yeah, they do a ton of like really cool stuff. Again, nothing too crazy. Like they have this zip right here with all this kind of like tattoo kind of artwork. I know they commission a lot of like local artists or just different artists in general to do one-off things like some one-of-ones of their denim, doing just the graphics in general. But most of it is designed in-house, I believe. And yeah, that's kind of it for the product. Again, I'd say it's like pretty good. I like it. It's definitely got its own vibe. Maybe not for everyone, but I would definitely say that like most people can at least find one thing that they like in a given collection that they would be into and want to cop. Now, the pricing again, definitely like keeps people at bay sometimes. Again, like 160 for a hoodie. And it's not always like the craziest hoodie that you've ever seen. Um, that's why it's so important for them to just nail their marketing and branding. And obviously, they've been going for so long that they're just doing a good job. And yeah, can attest to have a um, core fan base that is buying these products consistently at these price points. Now, moving on, again, I want to really highlight one of the biggest advantages is their output. So they're constantly every month or just about every month in, month out, dropping new product. Now, this is like really impressive to the quantity and quality of product that they drop. So they're constantly always in the lab cooking up stuff. I'm sure they're constantly going through samples. I know they posted several times that some different products have taken 6, 7, 8+ samples to do. So I know from a sampling standpoint, they're constantly doing stuff. I think just from a product in general, they keep it very interesting and fresh. Again, they kind of have their own aesthetic and vibe, like that's not. It'd be easy to replicate, but definitely like people would come off as like you're biting them if you were to kind of replicate it. It's kind of somewhat easy to tell, but yeah, I think the product is very good, and just the output is definitely one of their biggest advantages. If you compare them to another top, again, Instagram brand, like if we put up like Bad Sun, even Cortez, Fugazi, House of Errors, like all of those, I would say Basketcase Gallery definitely drops the most in terms of just how often they release, and then when they do release, how much they're actually releasing within that. Like their product drops are just super, lengthy. We're talking like 20 to 30, maybe even 40 different products at any given release, which is a lot. And again, it's a testament to them being able to just sell so much product. Like clearly, they're doing well to be dropping that often. And even at the price points that they are dropping at, again, just very, very impressive. And definitely one of their biggest advantages, I think, is just the consistency and output that they're, again, putting out there. Moving on, I want to talk about the branding. So again, with their branding, there's a lot of things we can really talk about. I've already mentioned on their collection names, such like minor details like that, guys, like matter so much to create just a brand that has a high lifespan, if you will. So yeah, their collection names themselves, like museum fatigue, like people aren't naming their collection names like that. We have museum fatigue. I know they had that mnemonics one. There was like the ecstasy of Saint Teresa. Like They have all kinds of just abnormal product names or collection names, and the products themselves are often named somewhat unorthodox as well. And like I said before, if we can find a product thing right here, we have Diana Denim, we have Fist Face Souvenir Tee, we have Canal Tee, we have Marionette Letterman, we have Mercy long sleeve, Expire Tee, Mnemonic sticker pack. So again, the product names themselves are also generally like pretty different, if you will. Um, and yeah, it just shows how much product they're honestly releasing day in and day out. Very impressive. Another thing too that I kind of tapped into before is all these custom flyers and graphics that they do for each collection and pop up. Again, it all still kind of has that like grungy punk kind of vibe with these faded prints and just a lot of like the symbolism and motifs that are used. Yeah. Also, we will see multiple times different graphics popping up. One of them being this thumper motif, if I can find it. So this right here, this little like rabbit with this in the circle, that's one of their common motifs. So they found ways to consistently brand um, just everything that they do, having consistent motifs. Of course, we also see basket case itself, like the word or words, commonly played throughout the products, but also not too overdone. It's not like overly branding. It's not doing too much. More like a Supreme, if you will, that again does like the very heavy graphics and branding. We have the basket. This is one of their big graphics. So they really seem to find a formula where each year it seems they find like a couple, like 3, 4, 5, 6 different graphics that become their new kind of core, if you will. Like that, I don't know what the actual name of that product is, but this basket hoodie, seen that time and time again. They have this rock and roll love one that they do a lot. That thumper graphic shows up on just a lot of things in general that they do. This parachute graphic, I've seen them do this time and time again on different products. So again, they've really kind of cracked their code in terms of how they do things. Constantly dropping new product, keeping in some older, some things that have worked in the past, and kind of restocking it, if you will, in like a new kind of light. Again, being very, testing out some new things as well as just doing some maybe more simple type graphic or just simple, they might do a custom dye for a new hoodie thing like that. And yeah, they're constantly experimenting and doing well with that. Um, yeah, that's what I had for that. Also, I know they do some zines from time to time, and they do a lot of pop ups. So I think that's what I had next. So yeah, pop ups definitely something they have leveraged well. They do a lot of sample sales based in LA. I've never been to one. I'm here in Indiana, so fortunately, I've never been to one. But they seem like they have a high turnout and people really mess with it and spend, I'm sure, good money. I know at their sample sales they also have screens for people to bring in their clothes to print on. So just really smart from their business perspective as well as just branding. Yeah, it gives people an easy entry into like their ecosystem, if you will. And yeah, they're just really smart about acquiring new customers and retaining them clearly. In terms of on top of the sample sales, they do occasional Paris pop-ups for Paris Fashion Week, of course. And yeah, pop-ups in general, I believe, in LA. Again, I have not been to these. They did a New York one as well. Was not able to go to that, of course. And yeah, as of recent, they did the New Balance collab, which is a huge, huge milestone, as I alluded to earlier. And they did a pop up for that. So again, pop ups for any brand are very important. That in person experience cannot be replicated anywhere else. Of course, as brands exist online, um, selling in person is always going to be different. Having an opportunity for the brand owner or people within the brand to again chat with the customers face to face is completely different. Adds so much to it. The in-person experiences also allow you to just do so many more things, like the in-person screens, like the again just like interior decor of the shop itself. Here they're doing actual custom tattoos of like basket case motifs and imagery. So again, just really, really smart in terms of building a true like community and like long lasting brand, right? That's kind of what we're going after. So yeah, they do all of those things very well. And yeah, I know another thing they have done is they've been to Complex Con multiple times. I don't know how many times. But again, just they're not afraid to go out there and do what they need to do to acquire new customers, showcase their brand, and essentially just another form of a pop up that they've done. And yeah, shout out them. They've done a very good job in just the branding as well as everything else that I've mentioned before. So yeah, getting into my kind of last thoughts and some things I didn't mention before. Again, their supply chain has to be on point. There's no other way around it. They definitely have crushed it on that end. I think they have. I just saw recently. No, I can't find it. They posted a picture of kind of like their sample, not sample, but their supply chain process, just having all the products showcasing where they're at in development and then getting people's orders shipped out, of course. I know they have to do pre-orders for most of their releases, which is obviously sucks because people don't want to wait a long time. But yeah, they do their best to have things, of course, in person or not in person, available to ship when things sell. So yeah, they gotta go crazy on the supply chain to have that much product being sampled and sold at that sort of time frame, month in, month out. Email collections, that's one thing that I think they do incredibly smart. It's such a small detail, but goes a long way. Having their shop only open for like 10% of the time, the other 90% is closed. You're going to have a very high email subscribe rate on this page versus when your site is open and you have to scroll to the bottom or even you get the pop-up saying, subscribe and we'll give you 10% off or subscribe for a future whatever. This right here, people FOMO in, if you will. They're like, oh, I just found about this Basketcase brand. Oh, the website's closed. Like, I need to put in my email for when the next release happens. Like, I cannot imagine how many, probably hundreds of thousands of emails that they have on their email list. So, of course, email marketing is still very big. And yeah, even from my own experience for my brand, email marketing still works really well. On top of that, SMS, I don't know how much they do, but SMS definitely crushes as well. So yeah, super small detail, but again, having that site only open for again like 2 or 3 days out of each month um, means that they just are constantly collecting. I can't imagine how many emails. Moving on from that, they are not 100% organic. They do some paid media, not a ton, but a fair amount. Mostly highlighting their recent collections. When I see their ads, it's mostly story ads highlighting again when a recent collection is released. So for those 2 to 3 days when a site is live, of course, I get hit with like story ads, as well as just more ads of their product in general. You can kind of see here a highlight of all of the ads that they've done recently. So they do a fair amount here and there, but really does feel very organic, just in general what they do. Not a ton of paid media. Of course, we have that TikTok, which definitely helps a little bit, and their YouTube from time to time. Again, just helps build that brand affinity for those that watch. Um, yeah, I really think their output and quality together kind of is like their biggest driver of success currently. Just constantly feeding people what they want to see, as well as again bringing in new products and trying new stuff out. The fact that they've managed to get their price points to where they're at and be successful at that is just really impressive in my opinion. Selling that much product at those higher price points, again, just a really big testament to them. It's also worth noting, I don't know if I said it earlier, but they do have some other retailers that do carry their product. Not a lot, but some. Like we have Exhibition here. We have Drew Store, which I believe is based in Hong Kong. We have a handful of other ones, not too many. And yeah, this stuff does resell on, again, like a Grailed and places like that. I was actually just looking and I found the exact t-shirt I'm wearing, reselling for close to $100. Yeah, this thing's fire. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had for today. Again, I think they've built such a good community. They're pretty organic again. One thing I did not mention in the closing thing that they don't really have like a true hero product or products like some other brands have had. Like if you watch my Fugazi video, they had the one in the chambers that really kind of like took off the brand and then kind of was like their hero product for a while. And maybe like if you look at a brand or a person like Mona Thomas, she has like her Hoonie, the hoodie that everyone sees that I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If you know, like that. For Basketcase, the one product that I would say is closest to that is this. I think it's the Raw Collage sweater. I believe is what this is called. This sweater they've done in a million different colorways, as well as I think they've applied it on some like hoodies and things like that. But really, knits is like the big way. I think this is one of their main products that blew up in the beginning, and they've continued to kind of re-release it over time. So this is probably the best thing that we have for that. Like I said before, too, it feels like year in year out they've got a couple different products that are kind of like hitting the limelight and really kind of again taking them to another level in terms of popularity. Like this ballet knit, as simple as it is definitely one of them. But yeah, that's kind of again all I had for today. Yeah, shout out to them. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the brand in general. Have you heard about them before? Have you not? Did you gain anything from this video? Please let me know what you thought of the breakdown. So please drop a like, a comment, positive or negative. And yeah, that's kind of all I got. And subscribe if you're not already. Got big goals for the end of this year. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.